Hello and welcome to the video. Um, I've made a lot of videos before, but I seem to just kind of delete them over time. And this is, I guess, going to be my first one up talking about the sanctuary of celestial creation and what my plans are going into 2027. So, for starters, obviously, you probably haven't seen this before. I have had this inner, I call it a mystical experience of sorts, but it's kind of like inner experience, inner dreaming experience, where my mind in early 2012, Leo of 2012, my mind became interwoven with a um, entity of sorts, and my imagination sparked just like that. And I started having all these thoughts and ideas about the possibility of alien alternate realities with us, alien gods, and just a whole thing of just ideas over the possibilities of what might be out there in the universe, and thoughts and ideas over what could be the truth for everything of what's out there. And I've also had an inner voice inside of me since this time that kind of guided me around through these visions at night. When I was like 16, when this first happened in 2012, I was a stoner. I'm still a stoner, kind of, but I had this whole thing, and it brought to me all these ideas of like the possibility of like alien gods. And at that age, I just thought that was so cool, and whatnot, and do research throughout the years about some people have some experiences, but nothing I've ever seen like this. I've never found anybody that has a personal experience exactly like mine, where it's like you had this kind of imagination interwoven with another entity of sorts, along with the inner voice that was kind of guiding you through, sitting there having thoughts about this at night. And to this day, I've done years of research, and I realized that there's nobody with this experience, and I don't think there is like a counterpart, as I always hoped for, that there's somebody else out there that has it. So, you know, I have a book on this, by the way. It's Journey of a Celestial Dream on Amazon. Not trying to advertise that to anybody watching this, but that's the bulk majority of like all the visions and whatnot in my experience. So, like that's always it's always so significant. 2012 is so significant to me because you look at that time, everybody was so into like the shifting, the Mayan calendar, and 2012 was still in a way a big year of shifting. And I have reason to believe, because of my math, as I realized it happened on Leo, the opposition to Mars, and I assume because that opposition to Mars will happen again in February of 2027, and I've lived for that for a while still kind of giving up on this experience in myself to some capacity. Uh, I still have it deep down inside that Leo of 2027 is going to be a big moment, if not for me, for the world. And I live for that, personally live for that far beyond this experience. I live for, that moment and that time, February 19th through the 21st of 2027 is when this will all come down. Or but I have my hopes that something prematurely happens and I just have some breakthrough spiritual experience. But I live on hopes and dreams, that things I don't pursue, and life is not easy. It's not. This entire experience that I've been dealing with for years now is it's just ongoing to this day, but the visions are not the same. Imagination still comes, as I call it that. I call it imagination, but what is it really? There really are, if you look deep into things, there really are alien gods. There really are, you know, higher forms of life and conscious, infinite consciousness flowing through the universe. There really is all that. And so I try to, tie that in with my own inner experience, and I can to some degree. But then to another, it's like, the mind this and the mind that. Well, what if the mind still is a gateway, in a sense? All aside from what spiritual teachers tell us, what if the mind is a gateway still? and it's like this forever Rubik's cube that we're trying to sit there and put together. And yeah, there's there's a little bit of resentfulness in me when people start talking about some heart-held divine experience, because that's not my experience. I've never had any true and honest heart-held connection of spiritual nature and whatnot, and I don't know. I think about it all the time, all day, every day, about what could happen and what I could do. I have my own set of disabilities that kind of prevent me from just going out and traveling to explore the world and whatnot. So it's I mark that out most of the time of like, I'll just travel, you know. Well, anyways, what what I always hoped for was that there was going to be, and this is going back years hoping for something, but by this time now, almost the end of 2025, what are the chances of this? I always hoped there would be some kind of community revolving around my own inner experience, and or at least if I couldn't have that, then I could find some community that I'd be driven towards out there that focused on, the great beyond and channeling, alien gods of the great beyond and whatnot. A lot of explaining stuff like that and the whole entheogenic breakthrough that people go through. I'm just not even going to waste my breath on that because there's already millions of videos of that on the internet. But anyways, I always hoped that there would be some kind of community that revolved around this experience. I realized years later that is not ideally what it's supposed to be. That I'm not supposed to have some community revolve around me at my feet and taking care of me because I have problems like every human being. And just yeah, I live in a more I live more in reality, and it's harder. It's harder. I'm still quiet about my own life and this experience to everybody around me. Friends, I never even wasted my breath with family. Friends kind of silenced me a little bit, saying that's kind of weird. So I don't, for most people, most normal people around me in this life, I don't waste my breath explaining that to people. It's like, why are you still a conscious seeker, a seeker of consciousness, and the hidden understandings at the end of the day? Well, that's because of this experience. I still read about stuff. I still watch videos and documentaries about stuff, and gnosis and Gnosticism, and all the great esoteric teachings and whatnot. I'm curious, and thankfully that area uh, is where my curiosity is. In everything hidden and beyond knowing of mankind. So, like I said before, I live in a reality more, and I've had enough reality checks through myself over the past few years that leave me to realize I'm not going to end up being some cult leader of my own inner experience, thinking that some great occult lineup of the timeliness of Leo 2012 to Leo 2027 is going to happen, and it's going to all happen at my feet or my head. Now it's just like life. I just kind of like dream about like what would be nice to have like somebody support over this experience, somebody I can relate to in some way, shape, or form. But unfortunately, like I know I'm not looking hard enough because I've given up on myself, like a lot of people. I've given up on myself and I've given up on the experience. It's why I just live this poop doo doomer life that just doesn't have much, hope for where I can go with all of this. And 2027, I hope to have another website. I had a website like 2 years ago over this in hopes that it would get somebody involved, and I just boogered that up completely. So I do hope to have a website over this again, kind of like almost like a imitating to be like the Heaven's Gate website, but more, not sitting there telling people this is the only way or some mess like that. But no, I think I'm gonna have a website before this all happens. Hopefully, sometime within the next year. And secondly, I don't know, you know, where I'll be in even not even a year and a half. It's less than a year and a half, and I hope that something will break through. But you know, I just seem to float freely now, and I think I'm not the only one on this earth. Not just because of this experience, but I'm not the only person, the only young guy in the United States that's just kind of freely floating and doesn't really care to be tied down to a family, doesn't care to get too involved with their current family, other than a few good meals and laughs here and there. Like I just don't know where I'll be in 2027. You know, wherever I am, will my life be a little more cleaned up? Maybe. But like when it comes to like an experience like this, and anybody that's had any kind of mystical experience can relate to this. There's no turning back. You know, I'm never going to be this good little Christian man that you know just lives to have a family and serve his master, Lord and Savior and whatnot. You know, there's no turning back to that because obviously, as I just mentioned, everything about gnosis and hidden knowledge and whatnot. Obviously, I can't just turn back to the King James Bible and say, well, you know, maybe that is the answer. You know, but as far as I know, as far as I can see, I don't know where I'll be. I feel like I'll just be the same kind of guy living in the same cycle in Leo 2027, and you know, at this point in life, I kind of just accept that, and yeah, it's that's pretty much it for me talking about 2012 to 2027. I will try to have some more content in the future. I've been dabbling more with AI because, like all people that lack, skill of creation and whatnot. And at this point, like I said, what am I gonna do? Sit there and spend 2 years trying to figure out how to make stuff? No, I'm living for Leo of 2027. I'm not gonna waste my time and my breath trying to create, through years of like making art and whatnot, trying to make actual stuff. So it's just me and AI making this stuff, trying to get the message out there. If you got this far in the video, thank you. And I have a book, Journey of a Celestial Dream. It's under my YouTube about on YouTube. You can check it out. And yeah, thank you.